from the Miami International Airport. Today we are flying across the pond to London, to be exact, with a short layover at Lisbon. For a change, our flight is delayed, so what better way to pass the time than having a cold one while we wait. I was supposed to get a window seat, but the plane has this kind of gimmicky and fuzzy but way cool displays showing the view from the cockpit. It is almost as good as having a window. It is the first time I see this kind of setup and I like it. It is a good idea to stretch your legs on a long flight like this one. How? Well, by visiting the lavatory. So that's what I'm doing besides, well, you know, we get a pretty good dinner with a choice of fish and pasta and a decent breakfast. And even though it is the most uncomfortable flight I have ever been on, it goes by pretty quickly. In just under 7 hours, we are landing in Lisbon, Portugal. We are at Lisbon Airport, right here in Portugal. Another country to add to my list. Our connecting flight is delayed, again, due to a pilot strike. But eventually they take us on this bus to a plane which is parked way back by the runway. And off we go again. We're leaving. This time I managed to get a window seat, and we get a spectacular view of Lisbon as the plane takes off. As the plane turns, it is almost like the pilot is giving us an aerial tour of the city on purpose. The bridge over the Tahoe River estuary does have a striking resemblance to the Golden Gate in San Francisco, and it was actually built by the same company that built the Bay Bridge in that same city. Let's go back, instant replay style, and see all this from my mom's camera point of view. She's sitting a few rows further back. Another seat arrangement screw up. We get fed one more time. It is almost too much food. And we finally land at London Heathrow Airport. We take a black cab to our AirBnB flat in Greenwich. Is that a game of cricket I hear in the background? After over an hour and more than £100 later, we arrive at our flat in Greenwich. The flat is actually quite nice. It's an Airbnb, and the kitchen has everything we need, even an espresso machine. Let me continue showing you around the flat. That's British for apartment, by the way. Now we go out into the neighborhood. Google says there's a supermarket nearby, but to be honest, I think we're lost. Hello everybody, I have arrived here. We have arrived here at London, and well, this is not the most attractive of places. Here we are looking for a supermarket. We were originally going to go to the British Museum, but we had a series of problems getting here, strike by the airline pilots, etc. So we have arrived here too late to go to the British Museum today, but we'll go tomorrow or the day after. I have no idea where we are. We're looking for a Tesco supermarket to buy some supplies. We went to a Tesco and bought some supplies, and now we're going back to the apartment. And tomorrow, hopefully, we'll be able to see a lot more of the great landmarks this city has to offer. Don't be misled by the unattractiveness of this little stretch of town here by the Deptford Creek and the railroad tracks. The neighborhood is actually quite lovely. We wish we had more time to explore it. Good morning from Greenwich. Let's head out to London. We walk a short distance towards the river to take the Clipper to the city center. Greenwich is actually really pretty. Here we stumble upon the Cutty Sark, one of the last sailing tea clippers ever to be built before they started using steam for locomotion, or whatever the naval term is. Here's our view from the pier. The tall pyramid is the Shard, the tallest building in the city, and I believe also in all of Western Europe. Right next to the pier, we see the Royal Naval College and the University of Greenwich.
I think our boat is coming.
Off we go, cruising along the Thames River. Here we see Britain's second tallest building at 1 Canada Square, as we pass by the Canary Wharf business district. And out in the distance, we see the iconic Tower Bridge. I think this is really efficient of us, taking this clipper. It saves us time. Instead of taking a dedicated river cruise for tourists, we are seeing all the same sights from a mode of public transportation. Pretty cool. After we pass the Tower Bridge, the warship to the right is the HMS Belfast of Second World War prominence. Yep. As we start going under the Millennium Bridge, we also see the dome of St. Paul's Cathedral. It is such a stereotypical London weather day, overcast and grey. All we need is a little fog. Actually, I've learned that the famous London fog is actually a myth. It was caused by pollution from the coal mine chimneys in the 19th century, so it doesn't happen anymore. We approach Westminster, and it is time for us to get off the boat. We are getting on the London Eye, the giant Ferris wheel next to the Thames River. As we continue gaining altitude, we start enjoying great views of the city from this higher vantage point, the wheel rotating ever so slowly. It takes about half an hour to complete one whole revolution. We see Westminster down there, and let me zoom in on this double-decker bus. We'll see lots of them. We can also see Buckingham Palace, the square in front of it packed with tourists waiting for the changing of the guard ceremony. Our 30-minute ride on this 135-meter tall Coca-Cola commercial is coming to an end. The serene ride on the London Eye will set you back about 30 pounds, yeah, about a pound per minute. It does include a 5-minute long 4D movie. Whether it's worth it or not, I leave it entirely up to you. I think I would do it once, like today, on my first visit to London. Next time I'll spend that money on some fish and chips and the London Pride beer, for sure. Hello everybody, coming to you today from the very heart of London. We walk across the Westminster Bridge to the north bank of the river, along with the hundreds of other tourists in the area. Here we arrive at Westminster Abbey, the famous Gothic church here in London, and I really wanted to go inside, but the line is over an hour, and they don't even let you take pictures or video inside, so as much as I wanted to see it, forget about it. We will content ourselves contemplating its anticlimactic facade. We continue walking towards Parliament Square with its statue of Mahatma Gandhi. Also, they have a statue of Churchill, and all the tourists are taking pictures. We wanted to continue exploring this area, but we are getting really hungry and a little tired of walking around, so we take an Uber. We are going to eat at a typical fish and chips place, a chippy, as it is also known colloquially. And the Rock and Soil Place is one of the oldest in town. It's dating back to 1871, and nowadays it's apparently run by some Nepalese folks, but very, very good food and very friendly service. I recommend it. Since we are in the neighborhood, we walk down to the Covent Garden area. At the center of it all, there is this former fruit and vegetable market. Nowadays, this popular shopping district and restaurants, and it's a touristy site, let's admit it. We continue walking south until we reach the Strand, one of London's main arteries. The road actually dates back to the Roman times, and then it was also used in the Middle Ages. And these zigzagging white lines on London streets are there actually to alert drivers of possible pedestrians crossing the street in the area. Who would have thunk it? We continue towards Trafalgar Square. The area is also very lively and touristy, with street musicians and performers. Right here, in front of the National Portrait Gallery. The name of the square commemorates the Battle of Trafalgar of the Napoleonic War. At the center here, we have Nelson's column. Now coming to you from Trafalgar Square right here in London, and as you can see behind me, the National Gallery, and we're gonna continue roaming the streets of this great city. Here also they usually hold many demonstrations, and most importantly, the New Year's celebrations. We decide to hop on the public transportation, so we go down to the underground to get something called an Oyster card. The Oyster card is a rechargeable card that you can use on the underground and also on the bus system. We take one of the double-decker buses going east on the Strand towards St. Paul's Cathedral. We are now riding in one of the classic double-decker buses. We have managed to get into one of the real old buses. We get off by St. Paul's Cathedral. Queen Anne's statue is right in front of it. We make an attempt to go inside, but it is almost £20 and they don't let you film inside either. And to be honest, it doesn't look all that impressive. Maybe I'm wrong. So we decide to keep going. we follow the crowds towards the Millennium Bridge, which is a modern pedestrian-only passage which opened on June of 2000, hence its name, Millennium. There you go. There's the juggler, pretty cool. They also have these people with these carts selling roasted nuts. It seems to be a thing. Here, I'm sure I was saying something profound and inspiring about the bridge, but unfortunately my microphone malfunctioned. Okay, let me try to overdub. Here's St. Paul's Cathedral behind me, and the Thames River, the walkie-talkie, the Shard. You get the idea. The bridge was very wobbly when it first opened, so they had to close it down for 2 more years to eliminate the wobble. It finally reopened in 2002. Here we also pass by Shakespeare's Globe. It's a replica of the 1599 Globe Theatre, which was built by the playing company to which Shakespeare belonged. We take another Uber, which, by the way, is an outstanding service everywhere we go. Seriously, taking a regular taxi is so 2012. We're going towards the Tower of London, which is not that far, but we want to waste no time. Besides, Mother is tired. The Tower of London is this historic castle on the north bank of the river, and it is a major tourist attraction here in London. It houses the crown jewels of England. Many prisoners, including Queen Anne Boleyn, entered through here, the Traitor's Gate. We have some refreshments, taking a quick break here, overlooking the Shard, which is where we intend to end our day today. While we are here, let's walk towards the Tower Bridge. Here we see the London City Hall, this funky-looking building, on the other side of the river. And we arrive and go across the bridge. This iconic landmark is a bascule and suspension bridge, and it dates back to the late 19th century. It was an engineering marvel when it was completed. And more roasted nut carts. We take yet another Uber towards the Shard. In order to get to the building, we must go through the London Bridge station. And here we are. Now this place is expensive. It is £25 to get to the top. Really, £25. That is almost $40 US. Hey everybody, I am coming to you from the Shard, the tallest building in Western Europe. And here we are, ending our day here in London. To continue my rant about this place and the price, I think out of all the places we have visited here in London so far, this one is quite a ripoff. £25 for just standing around the top floor behind some somewhat dirty glass. Yes, the views are pretty impressive even on this somewhat gray and hazy day, but I don't think it's worth the $40. Sorry. We take the underground, or the tube, using our newly acquired Oyster card in order to get back to our apartment in Greenwich.
The next station is Bank.
At the Bank station, we switch to the DLR, or the Docklands Light Rail. It's a system of automated trains that goes to this further area where we're staying. As night falls, we approach our destination in East London. Night at this local pub in Greenwich called the Mitre, and I discovered my new favorite London ale. It is called London Pride. Good morning. Today we continue exploring London. We take the DLR once again and get off at the Canary Wharf station.
The next train at platforms 1.
The station is actually quite nice with this elliptical glass roof. We are at Canada Square here in the Canary Wharf, which is a major business district here in London. We walk towards the tube station. Here we take the Jubilee line towards the Green Park. This is definitely the fastest and most efficient way to travel in the city, but you are underground, so there's no scenery. We get off at the Green Park station and walk along these long passageways to the exit.
It's a light mist coming down.
As the name of the station suggests, we emerge at Green Park. It is one of the royal parks here in London and is very close to Buckingham Palace, which is, coincidentally, where we're going. All these people seem to be here for the same reason we are, to witness the changing of the guard ceremony. There's really not a whole lot going on, so either we are too early or, what's more likely, late. The band is playing inside though. Let's get a little closer. I don't really know what's going on, but this is kind of dull. Now they stopped playing. Well, we're standing right here next to the gate, so should I ask these two guys what's going on? Maybe not. They have started playing again and it looks like they are coming out, so let's try to get a good spot. So many tourists are waiting here for this. I really hope it is worth it. But not only did we get here late, we got a horrible viewing spot. Thank goodness for my selfie stick, but still, we're too far away. Yep, that was it. I'm surrounded here by all these disappointed tourists who couldn't see anything. I don't really see what the big deal is. I mean, the band sounds nice, it's a tradition, it's a thing. You know what is a thing? Selfies. Really a thing nowadays. Hello everybody and greetings from London. Once again, our second full day here
and I'm standing in front of Buckingham Palace, and we just witnessed sort of the changing of the guard. We arrived a little late, and now we're going to continue roaming the streets of this great city and show you lots more. By the way, take a look at all the TV stations back there, because today was was it today or yesterday? The birth of the royal baby. Seems to be a big deal around this place. So, see you later.
Here we are going across this great wide avenue called the Mall. It goes from here all the way to Trafalgar Square. We walk along St. James Park, looking for a restroom, or a water closet, or the loo, as they call it here. By the way, bring spare change. The loo ain't free. The park is quite beautiful, even on this overcast day. We walk to this street called Pall Mall, which is parallel to the mall, and we take an Uber towards the British Museum. Here we pass by Piccadilly Circus on the way, which is considered London's version of Times Square, but nah, not really. In some ways it kind of reminds me of Puerta del Sol in Madrid for some reason, but nah, it's not that either. I guess it is its own thing. It is basically a meeting place, surrounded by some tourist traps, theaters, restaurants, and a great giant electronic billboard.
We are at the British Museum. Make the line.
This has to be one of the greatest museums in the world. The amount of ancient relics they hold at this place is truly overwhelming. By the way, entrance is free. As we enter, the first thing we see is the Great Court, which is Europe's largest covered square. It is supposedly larger than a football field. We go around the reading room, which is this round structure in the middle. Originally a great study hall, where many famous people, such as Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and even Karl Marx and Lenin, did some of their research. Too much research, maybe.
The sun has come out.
We are going to enter the West Wing. This is where all the Egyptian, Assyrian, and Greek artifacts are located. As we enter the Egyptian gallery, here's the piece de resistance, the Rosetta Stone, which was discovered in 1799. Without this piece of rock, we may have never been able to translate the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. It has the same text in ancient Egyptian at the top, medieval Egyptian in the center, and Greek at the bottom. Since we already knew the bottom two languages, it was relatively easy to decipher the hieroglyphs at the top, the meaning of which were a mystery until this great discovery in 1799, the Rosetta Stone, an ancient version of Google Translate, if you will. We continue towards the right, and here we see this statue of Ramses II. This is the guy who gave Moses a hard time liberating the Hebrew slaves. This was actually just the top of a much larger statue. Next, we go into this area dedicated to Egyptian animals, which they worshipped as incarnations of the gods. This ram here represents the god Ammon, protecting a fragile human pharaoh. The cat represents the goddess Bastet, goddess of joy, dance, music, and love, and the protection of pharaohs in battle. Busy goddess. All these boxes made out of stone, that's where they used to put the mummies. This huge granite scarab beetle here at the end of the gallery was a symbol of resurrection and the rising sun. This is apparently because the beetle would go into the ground and then reappear like the sun rising and setting, like dying and resurrecting. Okay, let's go to the second floor to see actual mummies, along these exquisite Turkish and North African mosaics, which date back to the 2nd century. And here we have it, the painting that inspired the walk like an Egyptian cliché. It is called Nebamum Hunting in the Marshes, from about 1350 BC. The stiff Egyptian look is accomplished by the torso being painted from the front perspective and everything else in profile. I guess they didn't know how to paint any better. We continue walking along all these glass cases displaying all these mummies and coffins and statues, and here we see the X-ray image of the inside of this coffin. That's pretty cool. This man right here is known to scientists as Ginger, or the Gabelline Man. He was 18 to 21 years old when he died, but he wasn't artificially mummified like the rest of the mummies. He was naturally preserved by being buried in the dry sand, with all his organs intact, as well as some of his possessions. Apparently, he died at around 3600 BC. That's 1000 years before the pyramids. Impressive that we can still see his red hair. We see more coffins, burial sites, artifacts, paintings, animal sculptures. We go back down to the main gallery. This long, closed, fisted hand belonged to a colossal statue. And here's the head of that statue with its crown. And more statues as we walk along. The small one stood at the door of a burial place. Now we move into the Assyrian exhibition. These two human-headed winged lions are our welcoming committee. They originally guarded the palace at around 860 BC in what nowadays is Iraq. And now, here we are at the Nemrut Gallery. Here we see examples of the first ever written language, the cuneiform writing, which was invented 5,000 years ago by the Sumerians in southern Mesopotamia, way before the Assyrians. We exit the Assyrian Gallery along these winged bulls from the Palace of Sargon. Next, we are going into the Greek Gallery. Wow! We stand before a Greek temple. This one in particular is called the Nereid Monument from Xanthos, which is, or was, in southwest Turkey. It has all the elements of the standard Greek temple, the pediment, which is the triangle at the top, the frieze that goes all around, and the metopies, which are the relief rock slabs. These statues of exquisite craftsmanship were originally on the temple as well. You can tell special attention was paid to the rendering of the wet clothes. Now we are here at the main hall with all these carved reliefs and statues, which are called the Elgin marbles. Most of them were made by Greek sculptor Phidias and his assistants. They originally decorated the greatest temple of all, the Parthenon, which still stands at the Acropolis in Athens. Well, what's left of it anyways. First, we have these relief panels, which were part of the frieze. They represent a parade celebrating the birth of the city. All these panels were originally painted in bright colors, and it must have been quite a sight to see them all around the temple. At the far end of this hall, we have the pediment sculptures. They supposedly depict the moment where the city and the goddess Athena were born. The Greek gods lounging at a banquet. Even though the backs of these statues were never meant to be seen, they still show pretty good detail. Steve Jobs would be proud. Finally, the metopies, originally above the columns, many of them depicting humans fighting centaurs. They symbolize the struggle between civilization and barbarism. The things we learn. By the way, curious to know how all this stuff ended up here? Well, this guy, Thomas Bruce, the 7th Earl of Elgin, used somewhat dubious legal grounds and controversial methods and removed half of the Parthenon sculptures and sold them to the British Museum in the early 1800s. A lot of them were later damaged during the cleaning process, and now Greece wants them back. Why wouldn't they? No matter where they belong or where they end up, this cultural treasure belongs to all mankind. The pillars of Western civilization were established during this Greek Golden Age. We could spend the whole day here, and I could spend the whole day talking about it, but we must go on. The rest of London awaits.
We're leaving. Sun is out.
We take another Uber. Does this street look familiar? Of course, it is the Strand. And that's St. Paul's Cathedral up ahead. We got off by the Tower of London and the nearby Tower Bridge. Although we were here yesterday, Today we are going to the Tower Bridge again to see the Tower Bridge exhibition, which will set us back about £14 per person, but it might be worth it. The exhibition begins with this movie about the politics and the design of the bridge. Then we go up to the walkway, which has this really cool glass floor. Beware if you are prone to altitude sickness. Here's Brian making a time-lapse with his iPhone. Here we see a great view of the river to the east, and another great view to the west as well. At the end of the exhibition, we see another video showing how the bridge actually works when a tall ship wants to go through. We take an elevator down to the ground level to go see the steam engine that was originally used to operate the bridge. So interesting to see how all this Victorian machinery worked.
The bascule engine. We continue having a wonderful time here on our second full day in London. We just visited the Tower Bridge experience, and that was pretty cool with the glass bottom floor and all that. And now we continue roaming the streets of this wonderful city. And we're gonna try to find something to eat.
We continue and walk past the City Hall, this building, and then eat at this pub called the Horniman. I have some kind of meat pie with vegetables and a beer. Pretty good food, slow service. The Horniman is located at this mall called the Hayes Galleria. And off we go. We go down to the tube one more time and get off at St. John's Wood. We are going to visit a must-see place if you are a Beatles fan, Abbey Road Studios.
Hello everybody, we're standing here at the very spot where the Beatles stood in 1967 for the cover of their album, Abbey Road, right here. And everybody's having such a great time taking pictures. This is what it looks like on a regular day at one of the most famous sidewalks in the world, Abbey Road.
They have a live webcam at this location. You can check it out at abbeyroad.com/crossing. And here's the video of one of the bloopers from that vantage point.
The long and winding road. I'm standing here at the very spot where the Beatles stood back in 1967 for the cover of the last album. Cuidado, baby!
Espérate, no te muevas,
No, es que venía un carro que pasó.
It is actually amazing that more people don't get run over at this famous crosswalk. Yep, that's us on the bottom right, checking out the studio wall. We hop on the tube one more time We changed trains at Baker Street, where the fictitious character Sherlock Holmes used to live. And this place needs no introduction: the Piccadilly Circus.
Hi everybody, and I think we're going to end our night here in London at this one of the most iconic landmarks this city has, the Piccadilly Circus. See you tomorrow.
On the next day, we book a tour by bus to the Windsor Castle, the city of Bath and Stonehenge, but I'll show you all that on the next video. Let's just finish London first. On our last night in London, we ate at an Indian, Bangladeshi, Pakistani place in the famous Brick Lane called Sheba, probably the culinary highlight of our time in London.
This was fabulous.
Because it's like frustration because
We're almost closing down the place. It's 11 p.m.
Very good.
Sheba.
Time to get back to our flat under the pouring rain.
Brick Lane.
Saying goodbye to Greenwich. This is the view from our balcony, our last morning here in London. We've barely scratched the surface here in this city, so we must return sometime, hopefully soon. Not only do I want to explore more of London, also our charming neighborhood here in Greenwich. We take another Uber, since we have some time left before we have to leave for the train station. We arrive at Greenwich Park, and here's another great view of London from this higher vantage point. We are going to visit the Royal Observatory of Greenwich.
The Royal Observatory.
We arrive shortly before it opens.
Ich mache jetzt ein Foto von euch zwei. Oh Gott. Was? Okay.
Here we have the remaining 10-foot section of what was in the late 1700s the largest telescope in the world. 40 feet long, which made it somewhat impractical.
Hi everybody. Hello one more time from London. Here I am straddling the line that divides the east from the west. It's a fictitious line obviously, but it's being used since they created it for navigation and many other things. This is longitude number 0 on our planet Earth. And we're coming to you from the Greenwich Observatory right here in London.
These rooms were originally the residence of John Flamsteed, the first astronomer royal who lived here. Pretty Spartan, if you ask me. Then we walk into this room with all these clocks and measuring instruments. Clocks became very important for navigation. It was relatively easy to determine one's latitude at sea by the position of the stars and such, but without accurate time it was impossible to determine longitude or how far east or west you were. Pendulum clocks did not work well at sea, with all the constant pitching and rolling of the ships, and that is illustrated in this display. The next room is the Time and Longitude Gallery. The following is a collection of the Harrison timekeepers, named H1, H2, and H3, as the design gradually improved so the clock could work at sea. They were all designed by carpenter and clockmaker John Harrison.
Third timepiece.
Eventually, clocks became more accurate, smaller, and even portable. Next, we see an early quartz clock from the 1950s, another quantum leap in accuracy. And finally, today's standard, the atomic clock. There is also a camera obscura, which is a dark room in which the light coming at the top is reflected on a mirror up there and projected on this table underneath. Pretty cool. Time to go up to the Great Equatorial Telescope, the largest of its kind in the UK, completed in 1893 and retired in the 1960s. It has a rare 28-inch lens that weighs 200 pounds. It is still used for private and usually sold-out viewings in the winter. We go back down to the town, walking along this pretty park, the Greenwich Park. We pass by the Maritime Museum and get this quick glimpse at Nelson's ship in a bottle, made by British-Nigerian artist Yinka Shoniber. We continue walking along the streets of Greenwich, wishing we could stay longer, but time is running out. We go down quickly to the Greenwich Foot Tunnel that goes under the Thames. It first opened in 1902, but we don't have time to go all the way to the North Bank.
Doors closing. Ground floor.
We are out of time. In fact, we are running late. We have a train to catch, so promptly we take another Uber. I'm gonna have to get them to sponsor the show if I mention them so much. We are on our way to St. Pancras International train station in order to board the Eurostar to Paris. Unfortunately, we don't make it on time, but fortunately, there is a train every hour, so we are able to board the next one. Off to Paris we go. The trip is about 2.5 hours, of which we will spend roughly 20 minutes underwater. Luckily, they have a bar on board, so how about some wine to pass the time? We are now underwater. I hope you have enjoyed our short time in London. Coming up next on the following video, we will take that day trip by motorcoach and visit the Windsor Castle and the Roman baths in Bath and Stonehenge, and then Paris. Oh, wait a minute, this is Paris already. Look at the Basilique du Sacré-Cœur over there. I gotta start practicing my French, so bonjour and au revoir. Vous voir sur la route.
We are in Paris.
That's all, folks. Do remember to subscribe, and if you liked it, give me a thumbs up and share with your friends and comment below. I'm also on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, so follow me there too if you will, and visit the blog at roadnomad.com. Join the mailing list. As always, thank you so much for watching and see you on the road. I'm riding with my RV. Wherever I want to be, because I'm free in my RV. Yeah, I'm riding with my RV, wherever I want to be, because I'm free in my